Said no mayo.
Thank you for tuning to this edition of the Bullet Points. Join me, as always, Blackbeard and Captain Crunch. Today we're going to be going over bailout bag special. We've had a lot of requests from our viewers as to what to pack into a bailout bag. You know, how much food should I pack? What kind of things should I add on? Tools, accessories, that sort of thing. So what we've done is we've each individually packed our own 72-hour kit. I've packed everything into the 511 all hazards bag with the attachable rifle scabbard. We've got the Maxpedition Vulture 2, and we've also got the Blackhawk block bag. Both of these were actually featured in one of our SHOT Show specials, so if you've seen that, now you're going to get to actually see it in the field. So let's take a deeper dive into each one of these bags, show you what each of us packed, and then we'll get out in the field for testing.
Okay, so just show you guys kind of how I have my Blackhawk block set up here. First off, on the bottom, I just have a simple little fleece sleeping bag. It's only good to down to about 50 degrees, so if you're in a colder climate, I'm here in California, so it never gets, Southern California, so it never gets too cold, obviously, down here. So that'll keep me warm down to about 50 degrees at night. Not too bad, so that provides some extra warmth, comfort, shelter, so that's nice. I have a basic platoon, new platoon first aid kit right here, and we'll dive into that in detail a little bit later on. I have just a standard Camelback 50-ounce hydration system right here. Pretty standard, bite valve, all the usual stuff you see with that. On this side of the bag, I have the Gerber Gator Axe combo, which is really nice. It has the axe and a survival saw built into the handle of it, which we'll get into a little bit later. I have two Omega carabiners built in right here. What's nice about those is they are climbing carabiners. They're locking. I think they take up to between 200 and 300 pounds. So if you had to climb with them, you know, you're running the risk of either your cord breaking, obviously, whatever you're climbing with, or one of these malfunctioning on you. There's always that risk, but at least it's nice to have them as a backup for any kind of holding up a tent, shelter, anything like that. So I just chose to clamp those on there. Adds virtually no weight. It's just nice to have. So what I have on this side of the block is I have two paracord bracelets right here, the standard 550 cord. Again, too much rope is always a good thing in a survival or bug out situation, in my book. I have the Gerber Bear Grylls Edition Ultimate Survival Knife. We'll dive into that a little bit later. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and dive into my bag here and let you guys see what I have in here. It's a little bit full, so forgive me if it explodes open here. Okay, so starting right here on this side, I have 25 extra rounds. I'm sure that's an obvious giveaway that I might have a concealed weapon on me. I have 25 rounds of this extra of this Remington Ultimate Home Defense. 124 grain jacketed hollow points for a 9mm. I have my Katadyn Hiker Pro water filtration system. We'll dive into that later. I have an 8-ounce water bottle right here with a small roll of Gorilla Tape tied around it. So if I have to do some repair on shelter, tent, anything like that, it's always nice to have some tape with you. The reason for the 8 ounces of water is that I have some food with me right here, some Mountain House meals, and each one of them you just have to heat up 8 ounces of water. So I already have the water that I know is purified, that's clean for sure, to at least get one meal going for my first day if I'm trekking out into the wild. Right here I just have a stainless steel cup for cooking. It has two metallic handles that fold out, so you can put this over a fire, warm up some food, water, anything you need in there. Around it I have some more 550 cord tied around there, just as some excess. Again, can never have too much rope or cord. Inside of the cup, I packed it really tight. I have eating utensil. This is a CRKT spork, and it also has some tools, can opener, fits some certain some tools here too that you can kind of use for any number of purposes. I have a Lensatic compass. This is pretty nice, so that way if you're trying to read a map, gauge your terrain, see where you're going towards, it has a nice glow-in-the-dark compass in here, so that way I can gauge which direction I'm headed. I have some Quench gum. That way if I'm hiking around, burning calories, but don't have a lot of food on me, I can chew this. It's nice because it basically is a little bit sour, makes you salivate a little bit more, it wets your palate, makes your mouth just a little bit more moist so you don't get dry mouth too bad. There's only 10 pieces here, but figure for only a 2 or 3 day bug out scenario, that's good enough. This is one of my favorite things that I have in my bug out bag. This is actually an automatic fishing reel. Now, this is pretty cool. You can tie this end to any tree, branch, anything like that if you're lucky enough to come across some water of some type. Then what happens is I have a couple of hooks to tie onto here. I just got some standard 3-edged hooks here. We're in Southern California where there's a lot of trout, bass, catfish, fish like that. So I got the most commonly used hook that I could find that are pre-tied with loops on the back. I can clip them on here. It already comes with a hook pre-attached. You can pull it out to whatever length it is once you've tied it off. Pull it out to whatever length you need it. Locks in place. If a fish grabs onto it, reels it in. So if you're lucky enough to catch a fish, that is awesome. I love sushi. This is another cool item. I have a Star Flash Ultra Signal Mirror. Put it in a baggie just to protect it from getting scratched up. This one's a very simple item. It's just a signal mirror to where you can gauge while looking through it, to where you can read out where the pinpoint of light or the reflection of the mirror is hitting exactly. And that way you can be sure whichever direction you're pointing it at, if you see a plane, if you see a ship, if you see anything like that, you can be sure that you place it on your hand to line up which direction you're shining it at, and then you know that the people who are going by you have the best chance of them seeing you. I also have a Jet Scream whistle right here. This is nice, extremely loud. So this is great for any kind of survival situation. I don't remember the dB on this, but it's a lot. Main pouch right here. I really like the Blackhawk system that they have the removable pouches. What's really nice about these is they're actually attached via PALS webbing or their strike webbing, so that way you can take any of these out, replace them with smaller pouches. Again, they give you 7 to work with between the two sides. At the bottom of the pack, I've just stuffed a little bit of rope here. In between these two pouches, I've stuffed some of this Datrex emergency drinking water. This is if I'm completely out of luck, I've not found any water to be able to use my Katadyn Hiker Pro on. If my Camelback's running dry, if my 8 ounces are gone, then I have a few pouches. These are 4.2 fluid ounces each. So at least you have about, 16 ounces here to work with. First pouch right here is packed pretty tightly. I have 3 Mountain House meals. I have some chicken breasts with rice, scrambled eggs with bacon for if I want to eat some good breakfast, and mac and cheese. Each of these is enough to feed pretty much 2 people, which is really nice. So, each meal will last you. It'll give you a lot of calories with this, which is nice. You got to be careful because the sodium is high on these, so you don't want to get too dehydrated due to the sodium or have that affect your blood pressure or anything like that. So just be careful about that, but these are great for on the go. Again, tear open the bag, put in 8 ounces of hot water, reseal the bag, let it sit for 10 minutes, you got a meal. I have a tube tent. This is these pretty much are a dime a dozen. These are a really cheap one. It doesn't offer you much shelter, but at least it gets you out of the elements if it's raining. This next pouch right here, I have some more food. I have some of these Coast Guard ration bars is what they call them. They basically taste like almost like lemon pound cake, but each bar is about 400 to 500 calories. So you eat a little piece of this and it goes a long way. It really fills you up. They actually taste decent and they're pretty nutritious. I have a few power bars here, Millennium bars. These last 5 years. They have about 400 calories each. Tiger's Milk protein bars. A couple hand warmers. People always laugh at this one. I have some tampons in here. This is great for if you have a hemorrhage, if you're bleeding, anything like that. Any good medic will tell you in any survival bag. I know it's funny to see these in here and everyone will start laughing at you until you need it, and you could save somebody's life with these. So any good survivalist knows those are great. Also, I have in here these 2 little mini tubes of super glue. These are great for sealing up a quick cut if you after you sterilize it. or you know, if you need to repair a tent, anything like that. So it's good for first aid, good for, you know, any kind of shelter too. Also have a canister of Advil in here. What's really nice is I have Advil, I have acetaminophen or Tylenol, and then I also have some antidiarrheals in here. So if you come across some water that you filter and does not settle well, or you don't get all the impurities out, and you're in trouble and you're getting dehydrated, dehydration is one of the worst enemies for survivalists. So have some antidiarrheals in here, and that'll stop you up, which is good. I also have a quick clot bandage right here. What's really cool about this one is that it's a clotting sponge, so it actually has material mixed in with it that acts as a coagulant, so that way it stops bleeding faster than just putting standard sterile bandages on there. So it actually stops bleeding really fast. I've heard lots of stories about people getting their lives saved because of this right here. This costs like maybe $6, $7, so it's not extremely cheap, but again, if one could save your life, hey. This little guy I have right here is pretty cool. This is made by Fox Fury Lighting Solutions. This is a Scout Tasker is what it's called. This is nice because it's got a little belt clip here. We'll go into this more in detail in the field review of it, but it's a nice little light to be able to use some simple, like really low lighting for reading maps at night without killing your night vision, and just a good all-around light to have. Moving over to this side of the pack. Essential toilet paper. Have some toilet paper right here. This is one of the only items I have in here that's definitely more of a luxury item. You don't need it, but it's nice to have. If you do catch like a wild rabbit or a squirrel or fish, you know, if you're out here for 2-3 days in the wilderness, that's gonna start to taste pretty bad after a while. And I, for one, am not gonna handle that super well after a while. So I just got some of these Colgate Wisps. These are tiny little miniature toothbrush, 2 of them, toothbrushes, with a little bit of gel in there that acts as actual toothpaste. So it's kind of like a toothbrush and toothpaste ready to go. Also has a little pick right there so you can dig rabbit out of your teeth, or squirrel, or any kind of rats you've had to live on for several weeks. Have an emergency poncho. I actually have 2 of those in here, 2 ponchos and 1 emergency blanket. This side, this is my fire pocket. Regular Bic lighter, fully loaded, making sure that it's always good to change these out once in a while. Standard magnesium rod with the flint and the magnesium. Waterproof matches. A trioxane, little military grade tinder. And then this one's really cool. This is a Light My Fire Steel 2.0. This one puts off a spark at a ridiculous temperature. If you can get a fire going, you have any kind of good tinder with you, this will get it going for sure. And again, gives you options, built-in emergency whistle right there. Really great fire starter. This is my favorite. As far as tinder, dryer lint, always a good tinder. Works pretty well. Doesn't burn that for that long, but it works. My favorite tinder of all time, Vaseline soaked cotton balls. I soak them in probably a little too much Vaseline. I tend to do that with these just because I want 1 spark and I'm good to go as far as getting a nice big fire going. So I got those with me at all times. Last main pouch here. Have a couple emergency glow sticks, just your standard green ones. Pair of gloves is always good if you're having to, you know, scavenge for firewood, supplies, anything like that. Keep your hands safe. You don't have to deal with too many cuts out there. Most important thing, you have some pens, some markers, and you have Batman note paper. That is the most important part of a survival kit by far. Plus, he gives you some inspiration when you're out there fighting crime in the wilderness. Motorola walkie-talkie. My wife, my family have the other one. That way, if we are going to a rendezvous point in the event of a natural disaster, we can contact each other when we get close on a set day or time, and we can communicate with each other up to about 5 to 6 miles away with this one. Have a handheld crank flashlight and an emergency radio. It's got a built-in compass. Turning it for about a minute gives you a nice, a decent amount of radio here. Got your volume, got scan for your radio reset. It's got some LEDs built into the top. It's got a flashlight out front. It's got an adapter where you can actually start to plug in your, or you can actually plug in your cell phone charger. However, this one's a little bit outdated. This only takes the old Nokia cell phones. But other than that though, this is great. It also has a siren you can set to where all the lights blink. There's a loud siren that sounds out of the speaker if you're in really bad shape. So hopefully someone can hear it. And it's compact, which is nice. Have some local maps. That way, if no matter where I get broken down, or if there's a natural disaster and I'm out of my house, then I know where I'm going to. As well as I have a little book in the back here that's a quick Spanish translation book. That way, if I can, whoever I come across with, I can communicate at least a little bit. Last but not least, always have some extra batteries with you. All the lights and the walkie-talkies and everything I have here run on AA, AAA, and CR123s. So I have about 4 of each here. I choose the Energizer Ultimate Lithium because they have the longest charge, they're good for 5 years, and they operate really well in cold, extreme cold and extreme hot weather. Cold weather, if you guys didn't know, is what kills batteries. So you want to get the lithiums if you're in really cold climates. Show you guys what I have on the outside of the bag right here. I have packed a Streamlight Stylus Pro flashlight. This is really nice, doesn't put out a ton of lumens, but has a really long battery life. And is great because it has a pocket clip here. It's just a pin light. Really good quality though, really bright, will last a long time. I have a Leatherman Kick multi-tool. This is nice. This is slightly more compact than some Leathermans. Not too heavy, but again, gives you all the great options and all the great accessories any Leatherman does, along with their quality. Also have by Fox Fury, I have their Checkmate, their Rook Checkmate. This is really nice. This is an extremely bright flashlight. It has a low mode for battery saving, but it's actually a 600 lumen handheld flashlight. So really powerful and works really well. Plus you can shatter glass with the end here. I also have a light here, a headlight made by Fox Fury. This is their Command 20 Tasker headlamp. Has 20 LEDs built in. We're gonna be testing this out a little bit during the nighttime when I'm out here in the wilderness. Works really well, runs on 4 AA batteries, puts out a lot of light. It's nice to be able to work with hands-free. Really nice rubber strap here. Lastly in here, I have 2 loaded magazines with that Remington jacketed hollow point ammunition. 2 7-round magazines for Ruger LC9, which I'm currently carrying on my person. And a DeSantis leather holster. Doesn't take up too much room. It's nice to have some sort of protection from any 4-legged or 2-legged animals that you might run into. But again, this is not the ultimate survival weapon. It's just nice to have some protection while you're out in the wilderness. And that is my bug out bag.